Guys, welcome back to Coffee Chats, the Coffee Chats podcast. This is episode 2, and yes, it is episode 2. These are all 15-minute shows, so they're quite short, but we hope that they will bring you value whilst you're drinking your coffee and having that legendary stimulant in the morning, afternoon, at night, whenever you enjoy them. So this episode is actually all about, it's one of a 3-part series, isn't it? All about how Siobhan came to opening the shed, and a lot of it was based on her personal experiences. And today we're going to be talking about, here's a little friend. For everyone just listening, we've got Abby jumping up on Siobhan's lap. So this episode is all about, I guess, to put it bluntly, your experiences with anxiety and depression.
Yeah. Yep.
Which is a weird thing for you to say, because when I first met you, you didn't even know what they were.
I know, I had no idea what anxiety was, and then I feel like I came to Australia and everyone threw the word around.
I know.
Oh, I'm anxious, oh that makes me anxious, and I'm like, what do they mean? What does that mean?
Yeah. Yeah, so take people through it. So, I mean, how did you move from a place of not knowing what anxiety was to experiencing it yourself and then moving through a period of kind of existential anguish?
Yeah, I can't even think. Oh well, it obviously started when we moved to Bali.
Abby,
I'm so distracted by the dog.
I know.
You can lie down.
Abby, lie down.
She might just jump down.
Come on, lie down. Don't jump on that microphone.
Yeah. So I obviously started off when I had it when I was in Bali, but I would never say. At that time I was anxious or going through some sort of depression or anything. But we were in a job working in Bali where I literally discovered at the end of it that it was because
Don't let her jump on the microphone, sorry.
I was literally discovered at the end of it that I had no purpose, I'd say, or no meaning, or I wasn't in control of anything or in charge of anything.
Yes.
So to put it simply, we were probably living a really pleasureful lifestyle with nothing to no responsibility. That's probably the best way of saying it. And yeah, that's how it all kind of spiraled, I guess.
Yeah. So just give some context for everyone. So you and I moved to Bali.
Yeah.
And we took on a job we took on a coaching role over there, and then we kind of found that it wasn't for us very quickly, and then the thing that triggered it, especially the anxiety, was a motorcycle or a motorbike crash, I should say.
Yeah. So I'm a huge believer in signs from the universe, or just listening to your gut and trusting your gut. And I guess we started the job, and I knew immediately what we got told the job was absolutely nothing compared to the job I was in. So in my head I was working my way up into a bigger and a better role, but as we got the job it was actually the complete opposite. So my role kind of went from, I was in probably a really good role, to going into a role where I had no responsibility or less responsibility. And and it kind of made my head be well, what am I doing here? I don't feel like everyone else is doing everything for me. I wasn't kind of in charge of what I was doing. And I guess from that, there was just signs of well, no one's listening to you, you're not getting anywhere, you've actually got no role, you're kind of just there to listen and do what other people are saying. I had no say in absolutely anything as a part of a team, which was really, really shit, as people will know if you're in a team that you have no say in it. And so I just kept getting these signs, but I kind of stayed in the job, which at the time was really bad. Me and Tom have discussed this, but I kind of stayed in the job because we had it together and I wanted to make you happy, and I loved being in Bali, I loved the lifestyle in Bali, but my universal signs was just getting worse and worse. The job was getting worse. The people around me were getting worse. And then as it just got on, I was just getting really, really sad, really down. I didn't really want to go out or do anything.
We certainly didn't have it together either. We were really struggling at that time in our relationship. There was a lot of clashing, a lot of fighting.
But
big changes.
because of the changes and because we had no responsibility, so our head was just left to be like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah.
So in the
And I think what would have made it even harder for you, if I could just butt in really quickly, is that you'd had such an incredible experience living and working in Bali the first time round. So it was so difficult to contrast that with all of the negativity that was coming up in this one.
Yeah, because I obviously had an expectation, and when your expectations don't get met, this is why you should have no expectations.
Yeah.
But when they don't get met, like, you can fall into that anxiety or depression, which I learned really quickly. So then it got so bad that we were driving home one night, and I was driving. We had no helmets on, which I absolutely wouldn't advise now, but it took the crash to tell me that. I was driving the motorbike, you were on the back, and we were actually going at like a reasonable pace.
Quite slow.
We were going slow. We turned a corner into some spilt oil and water, and the bike spun out of control into oncoming traffic. Luckily, we were so lucky there was a break in the traffic, which if you've been to Bali before, you'll know there is never a friggin' break in the traffic. Oncoming cars, and I just remember the bike spinning, me trying to stop it, and like putting my hand out to stop the car on the oncoming traffic, and then I just remember headbutting the concrete and the bike landing on my leg, and I couldn't move for a split second, but I don't know what happened, and I was on my feet being like, are you okay? Are you okay? To you? And then I just looked and just saw blood everywhere, and then that's when I kind of collapsed. So my adrenaline and everything initially got me up, and then I kind of just, and then that was the start of what you would call me being depressed. But I had no idea, and you didn't even tell me, like, I had no idea I was depressed, but I think you and like a close friend of ours was like, yeah, she's depressed, but I wouldn't say, obviously wouldn't say at the time I was, but looking back, I 100% was. Yeah,
well, at the time I had previously experienced both anxiety and depression. I'd also studied it, and then obviously now it's something that you have studied and experienced, and that's why in retrospect you can be like, okay, that's definitely what I was going through. And it was just a big roadblock in life. Like, your sense of identity had completely been taken from you, which is obviously awesome, given that you're a different person, you're happier than who you are now. I'm
so glad I went through it. At the time, obviously not. But
depression is just a personal grievance because, your goal-directed behaviour is no longer leading you to a place that would, as you previously thought, would fulfill you.
Yeah.
Topple that on with a genuine physiological trauma, with the bike accident. And I remember that. Like, I remember you jumped up straight away, your head hit the ground, there was blood and a fat nose, and I just looked at it, I was freaking out because obviously I'd hate to see you like that. And then when you found out I was okay, this is probably another reason why I love you, because the testament to you is you jumped up, you copped all of the brunt. Hello, Abby. You copped all of the force because you were in the front of the bike and I was sitting in the back with my fat ass. I just came off the bike.
Yeah, you were
I was
fine.
I was totally fine. You head smashed the ground. You looked at me to make sure I was okay. Once you found out I was okay, then you fainted.
Yeah, pretty much.
And we all picked you up and took you to the side, and there were these incredibly wonderful local Balinese people
they were
putting
amazing.
True eucalyptus leaves all over you, and it was quite incredible. But what came after that was a period of depression.
Well, so obviously I was in the hospital, and they were so amazing as well. And their advice was like, you can't have a shower because obviously the water in Bali is not the cleanest, so your cuts might get infected, your wounds. So they're like, don't shower, like try not to get it in the sun, like basically just stay indoors. So their advice was like a couple of weeks, and I was like, oh yeah, cool, whatever. But I was indoors to the point that I was so disabled in my body that I couldn't even turn the TV on, and when I turned it on, I was just like turned it off because I couldn't even be bothered watching it. So I was literally alone with my thoughts in a room in Bali in like the middle of nowhere, couldn't shower, couldn't move, couldn't do anything. So I was just in my head that whole time. And then I think it was afterwards when I could move, then I experienced like my first panic attack. So this was like more signs from the universe. I think that's what led into it. So those 2 weeks I was just, I can't even say what the thoughts were. I just physically and mentally felt so flat, but I just thought it was after the accident, but in reality it was everything else that was going on around me, and I had no idea until the first panic attack.
Yeah, and it's important to just provide people with kind of an answer, like a context is around why that happens, so that it doesn't become like, what if that happened to me sort of thing. Yes, Abby, we know you're here. We know you're here. When we lose when like a goal is taken away from us, or we, come to realize that we're probably unable to attain that goal, depending on how important that goal was to us, is proportional to the degree to which we lose a sense of our identity, because we are goal-directed animals,
Well, I just think if your gut is saying something, or something doesn't feel right, and you don't take action, it'll get worse and worse, and the signs will get worse, or you'll keep getting told something until you fucking do something. Like, it took for me to fall off my bike and nearly kill 2 of us, a panic attack, and then 1 million panic attacks in one day for me to be like, I need to get the fuck out of Bali and this job. Like, that's what it took. And how sad is that on myself that I didn't see the signs of being like, you knew in the first couple of days of the job that this is 100% not for you. Like, why didn't I do anything about it? So for people listening, if they're getting these signs, like, fucking do something. Like, do something about it. It's crazy to think that I let that happen to myself. And I'm like, actually, 1, disappointed that I let it go that far, but 2, I'm really happy because now I can help other people who are in these situations, or it got me to where I am now, which led me into breathwork and obviously helping hold space for other people doing breathwork. Yeah,
absolutely. And the anxiety, which at the time you labelled a funny turn.
Well, let's talk about that.
Well, it was interesting because I came home one night and you didn't look right, and you hadn't looked right for a couple of days, and so that was probably not incredibly surprising to me because you weren't in a good way. No. But then you said, today I had a funny turn, and you'd never said that ever before.
And I think you were like, oh, as usual, like, how was your day? And like, we were going on about it, like, what'd you get up to? I was like, getting on, and we were like making dinner, and we were about to have dinner, I think. Or no, it was before. No. Yeah, you were preparing dinner, but I was just about to go to like boxing or something.
That's right.
So I was still going about my day.
Yeah.
And you were just like, how was your day? And I was like, oh, I just had this like really funny turn. And you're like, explain the funny turn. And then I like explained it to Tom as like, my mind was like racing, and I needed to get out of the room, and I was panicking, and I was breathless, and my heart was racing. And then I had to like pace up and down, and we were living in a villa at the time, like obviously very lucky. And I was just pacing the villa until this weirdness went away. And then it went away. And then I like told Tom, and then you said to me, explained, I think you had a panic attack. And I literally was like, okay, cool.
Yeah,
went to boxing, drove to boxing, came home. And then we kind of discussed it a little bit more, I think. And then the next day was like, fucking bingo, like one after the other. It was like panic attack. And then when you try, which I didn't know, when you try and stop panic attacks, you get way more. So I was like, stop. And then they would like come on really, really hardcore. And then the best advice I ever got was from you. It's like, when you're going through it, make sure you can like feel, see, touch, hear, like use all your senses to kind of ground you. And that helped me massively. But fuck, it didn't stop them, like I had so many. And then the worst one I had was we went to, where was it we went to?
KL.
Yeah, Kuala Lumpur, and we were in a shopping mall, and this was when I was still going through the panic attacks, and we went into this huge shopping mall, and I literally, within seconds, I was like, where's the exit? Didn't know where it came from. It was so sudden, and you just had to like, that was our day, we went straight into a shopping centre for our first day in KL, and I had to go home, like we had to go back to the hotel where we were staying, and I just had to lie in bed because I knew that was like my safe space to not have panic attacks.
Yeah, that's right. It was very interesting. I don't even remember you saying anything. I just remember you being completely uncommunicative, and us kind of coming to the conclusion that we sat down first, and then it was very much like, hey, we just have to get out of here.
Yeah.
And there was something in there that must have triggered you.
It was being like claustrophobic.
Yeah.
I couldn't see the exit.
There was no way out.
No, there was no way out, so I just needed... Fuck, it was such a weird feeling.
Yeah, and that's when anxiety is really high, because, God, how many times have you been in a shopping centre when you don't know where the exit is? Hundreds of times. Yeah. But, for whatever reason, when you lose that goal-directed behaviour, the world presents itself as incredibly unpredictable as well, because you don't have a lane anymore.
Yeah.
And then anxiety manifests because it's like, well, look at all these possibilities we have. It's very unpredictable. everything could be dangerous, and everything was dangerous as an associative mechanism works.
Yeah.
And it was a fascinating time. Like we had been dating for what, 2 years by that time?
Yeah.
A year and a half?
Yeah, I think so. A year and a half, 2 years, yeah.
Yeah, and we're unique in our relationship where we don't spend a day apart. Like we're attached to the hip, you and I.
Much.
Yeah, and it was a very weird, it was a very interesting time.
Yeah, and like I didn't, and it's really like weird for me, like I didn't even want to like socialize, and you'd be like, oh, we're going out for dinner with so and so tonight, and I'm like, oh no, I don't want to go, but you were really good and like, no, let's go, like come on, we're gonna go out.
Yeah.
And like anything, everything. I just remember sitting at like tables for dinner and just like not talking. I could not talk, and then got stuck into breathwork. Well, then thankfully the universe was like, we'll give you a break, and then I discovered breathwork. Why not?
Abby's gonna jump up again, just for a little insight.
She could probably hear me talking.
But yeah, that was the road to it, and you stumbled upon breathwork by accident, really.
Yeah,
you didn't...
just asking one of the girls at a table what she did, and it was breathwork, and then we got the class set up in the gym that we were working in, and did a class, and then literally that was like. So when you do breathwork, you sometimes have like realizations or things coming through, and that was the point that it was like, get the fuck out of Bali. You don't care what Tom says, you don't care what anyone says, you're doing it for you and you're making yourself happy, and that's it. And then I was like, I'm going, and then I said to you, I was like, I need to get the fuck out of Bali, I'm done, I need to go. And that was it. And that was literally from like one breathwork session, my second breathwork session, never ever had a panic attack since. Not one. So did 2 breathwork sessions, panic attacks, depression, absolutely done. It completely changed my life. And that's not to say if you're going through them it'll change yours too. But it completely changed mine, hence why I'm like so in love with it and think that it can really help people wherever they're at. But and then it
was able to show you why you were anxious and depressed.
Yeah, it showed me literally who I was and the exact reasons why I was going through all that, and then I could actually communicate them with you and be like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, and credit to you, because so many people in the therapeutic process have all the awareness in the world, but they lack that ability to take action, because awareness precedes integration. And integration is just as, if not more important than the awareness component, because it's like these are all the areas these are all the areas in your life where you're falling into a big hole. You now know how to not fall into those holes. But it's up to you not to do that. And I was incredibly receptive to it, because you were so lost and afraid for so long. And you saying, I need to get out of Bali, was like the first like, oh, here we go, Siobhan's back. Like she's got this desire, and it worked.
Yeah, I just remember I went like home that night, and I was like, it was just like a huge discussion. I was like, this is what came up in my breathwork session.
I know.
And that was it. I just I think after that session I didn't go back to work. I was really like not good mentally, but I only realised that after the breathwork. Didn't go back to work, and then we just made plans to leave Bali, and that was it.
Went to Scotland.
Yeah, and then that literally was a fucking game changer.
Yeah. It changed a lot. It really changed a lot, yeah. But
but I didn't realise I was going through the anxiety and the depression until breathwork, and then looking back on all of it. So, it was a really, really like bad but good time.
the most challenging, most wisdom gained experience.
Yeah, but I always say to people, you have to go through the really shit times to get to the good times. And if you've not been through the shit times yet to understand that, like... the people that have been through the shit times, I should say, will understand that, because it always comes out good. Yeah. But when we first met, I was like, what the fuck is anxiety?
I know. Just
like, what is that? Literally. I was literally like the hard ass. Like, just get on with life.
But that was
no
good.
one in Scotland has anxiety.
I probably needed that. It was good for me. Like, I needed some of that at the time too. You know, because you can ruminate.
Yeah, but I didn't know. Like, you didn't tell me I was going through that, and I didn't realise it until after breathwork. I was like, damn, that's sad.
Well, I didn't say it because I felt that if I gave it a name and a label, the connotation would bring you down.
Well, it did with the panic attack. Because remember, you were like, oh, I think you've had one.
Yes.
And then the next day it was like, bang, 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 panic attack. Like, one after the other. It fucking sucked.
Yeah, and funnily enough... the day that Siobhan had like 4 panic attacks was the day that I thought I took this really lovely photo of her, and it was like my wallpaper on my phone for like 6 months.
I know.
And then you told me like 6 months after that, oh, by the way, that was like the worst day of my life. And I'm like, yeah, but you look great.
I was just like sad.
I know. Guys, well, that was, I guess, some of the background and the context as to how you found breathwork and why it was so important to you.
And I think it was just one of the reasons why breathwork really helped me with the anxiety and the kind of depression. And I feel like if I ever get that feeling of being anxious or falling into a panic attack, which I'm so glad I don't anymore, but if I get those feelings, I will literally just do a breathwork session or some breathwork, and it'll be gone, just completely and utterly gone. So yeah, that's definitely a reason why I freaking love it.
Yeah, if we can give you one takeaway from today, and this is probably a really important takeaway, is that exactly like Siobhan just said, there's always a reason why anxiety will manifest.
Yeah, always.
There's always a reason, and then knowing that reason means that you can integrate the change. So one of the worst things anxiety makes you feel like is that it makes you feel powerless. It makes you feel like it's happening to you, and then there's nothing you can do to stop it. But as Siobhan just said, as you know, especially within our own experience, it becomes prevalent for a reason. And when we find that reason, we can actually make changes so that, it's not as strong. And it can sometimes be as simple as just having too much coffee. This doesn't have to be a massive thing.
Oh yeah, but now I hear people saying it all the time, like, oh, that makes me anxious, or everything's anxious. That I'm like, do you know what fucking anxiety is? Like, are you serious? Like, if there's things in your life that are making you anxious, I'm like, well, fucking change it. Or, oh my god, I've had too much coffee. It's like, well, don't do that next time. Like, fucking take action on what's going on.
Absolutely.
If it takes a while, fair enough, but work on that.
Absolutely. And there are differences between, having a bit of anxiety here and there and then having an anxiety disorder. And we'd probably say that, if it's been strong, excuse me, for more than a couple of weeks and it's starting to inhibit your normal functioning and way of life, then it's probably something to really consider.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Guys, we love you all. Bit of a takeaway, bit of a throwaway line, Bonnie. Bit of something. What? We should have like a throwaway line. And as always...
I'm normally on with this shit, but...
I'm normally on with this shit.
That could be it. But I just can't think of one right now.
We could think of something. We'll think of something as they move.
Yeah, done.
All right. Catch you guys.
Bye.